Jesus Christ. Hey, yo, this traffic is mad. Maybe the football's on. Wait, hang on a second. What the heck is going on? I move, man. I will just clip my ankle. Wait, is that Insigne in there? Get out of the road. Ah, for God's sake. Yo guys, it is your boy Nirin here, and you're watching FTW. This, of course, the series where I bring to you the best and more frequently the worst of what football has to offer during the last 7 days. What's been kicking off in the world this week? Well, the most interesting moment in snooker history happened as a protester sprayed orange dust all over the tables. It was one of those just stop oil protesters, and I've got to say, Dutch F1 fans are out of control. It's a late lunch by Verstappen! Elsewhere, and in the US, elusive artist Frank Ocean performed for the first time in 6 years at Coachella. I say performed. The guy looked like he was bopping in a South London R&B room. Fans paid hundreds of dollars to watch Alex Iwobi, an anonymous performance, and his rating backed it up. He then cancelled the second weekend's date through injury, and Coachella's CEO had no sympathy.
That's a load of bollocks! You've got to fucking die to get 3 points!
On to the football though now, and we start off once again with some Champions League action. Chelsea are out of the competition after another 2-0 loss to Real Madrid.
We're going to win 3-0 tonight.
Rodrigo shut down the Blues' hopes with 2 goals in the second half, meaning a 4-0 aggregate win and Lampard's Chelsea crashing out in the quarters. This season for the Blues really has been a movie. A horror one. A season of hurt. A year of new faces. Creating a film with a multi-million-pound budget.
João Felix could be in real trouble here.
There is no passion! There is no vision!
Critics are calling. No, they're actually calling, like, to tell you that the film is shit. Great stuff from Chelsea, not playing the Champions League anthem before the game, knowing that they won't be hearing it next season either. Mikhailo Mudryk picked up a yellow, meaning he's suspended for their next European tie. That's advantage Chelsea, to be honest with you. The poor kid suspended for a Champions League game that he won't be involved in till 2027. Could have been a different story early on if N'Golo Kante scored this absolute sitter.
It's match day.
One Chelsea fan threw the ball away from Thibaut Courtois. Boss, you need it more than he does. Courtois got his revenge, denying a Marc Cucurella chance just before half-time. We got a recreation of Courtois denying Marc the goal here.
Fuck Chelsea!
Cucurella was getting advice from Ashley Cole before kickoff. Now listen, lad, I want you to stand off, alright? I don't want you to apply pressure, especially if the centre-back is on the ball. I put shampoo in my hair this morning. Then for Real's first goal, Marc decided to ignore Ashley completely, leaving Trevor Chalobah exposed, and Chelsea were 1-0 down. But at least Todd Bowley's prediction was correct.
3-0 tonight.
Well, until the second goal went in.
Oh no! You're having a laugh! It's 4!
Rodrigo brought out Ronaldo's celebration for this one to condemn Chelsea to defeat. Carlo Ancelotti was smirking,
bombastic side eye,
and was on the touchline explaining to Frank that he wasn't letting Lampard's side win any of the halves.
There is no your half. There is only my all of it. Do you understand?
Frank has genuinely come back to Chelsea to make his legacy even worse. This guy could go 007 as a manager. As soon as I saw Raheem Sterling come on with no trim, I knew it was over. Chelsea are legitimately useless right off of a season, gifting out wins to everyone this year. Elsewhere, Man City are through to face Real after a 4-1 aggregate win over Bayern Munich. Erling Haaland made up for a penalty miss in the first half with a goal in the second, while Bayern got a late consolation. French centre-back Deo Upamecano had a disastrous tie and was sent off for 20 seconds before its removal for offside. Here we have Thomas Tuchel seeing that Deo was actually going to stay on the pitch. This guy was man of the match. For Man City, on my mother's life, he's playing for the other team. Deo was struggling at half-time after dealing with Erling Haaland for 45 minutes, and it got no easier in the second as the Norwegian played him at Twister. He skipped away from the Jerome Boateng regen and slotted past Jan Sommer. Arabic TV even called him Upa Maguire.
Upa Maguire.
It's a shithousery award for the commentators here. A good recovery from Erling, as I said. Hang this pic in the Louvre.
The Louvre? Is that how you say it? The Louvre.
He must have had his milk he was going on about on Instagram at half-time. It rejuvenated him, clearly. Haaland's just not the same when he's not had his petit filou. Thomas Tuchel knew what he was doing, swapping Leroy Sané off for Sadio Mane late on. Leroy, who was still battle-scarred by Sadio's punch last week, missed some serious chances, and Pep Guardiola thanked him for that at half-time. Sadio was ready for action again as he saw Leroy walking towards him.
let's fucking have it.
The handshake between the two was avoided at all costs. Meanwhile, it'll get a little bit awkward when Leroy reminds reminds Sadio of beating Liverpool to the title.
I don't know why he's being cheeky. Why is he being cheeky? Because I see him shake his hand.
Thomas Tuchel's going to be petrified checking his emails this morning.
Ooh, I tell you what, I read that bad. I thought I was gone.
And he was gone from the touchline after being sent off for arguing with the ref. And you know what? I back him. Honestly, the official was on spice for this game.
You know what I mean? Must be on spice.
Now, in the Europa League, and Manchester United were drawing 2-2 after the first leg against Sevilla. All you got to do is put in a reasonable performance.
And I'm sick of this. The hell.
Yeah, United crashed out of the Europa League in, honestly, kind of embarrassing fashion, with a shocking display against Sevilla. David De Gea was absolutely abysmal in this one. First of all, putting Harry Maguire under pressure for the first goal, playing it out from the back, then having the ball loop over him from the second, and then a stinker being caught out of his goal after miskicking the ball and doing the splits for the third. They shall not pass. His password is 4 zeros, mate. Roy Keane will not be too pleased in the commentary box.
And De Gea, I wouldn't even let him on the bus after the match. I get a taxi back to Manchester.
Eric Ten Hag has realised the gravity of the situation here.
I am not the danger, Skylar. I am in danger.
De Gea's backup is Jack Butland, you know. Manchester United are finished. To be honest, if Jack Butland liked sangria, he would be David De Gea, let's be real. Sevilla's away end is dubbed one of the most dangerous in Europe because of its steep decline down to the pitch. But honestly, with the way United were playing, they ain't scoring. They'll be fine. Harry Maguire can at least hold his head high, though, getting a goal and an assist in a Europa League tie. Impressive stuff, really. In the Premier League, and Arsenal once again tripped up in the title race, fumbling a 2-0 lead to West Ham. Gabby Jesus and Odegaard gave Arsenal an unreal start, before West Ham scored through Benrahma and equalised via Bowen. Jack Grealish was celebrating Benrahma's strike at home.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
Saka had the chance to put Arsenal out of sight with a penalty, but he missed the target. Jesus was pleased seeing Saka miss before realising he still won't be taking penalties anyway because he's behind Jorginho in the pecking order. Saka's definitely off duty. He'll be vexed when he sees Tomiyasu take a spot kick before him. Meanwhile, Chelsea fans were heartbroken at the development, knowing West Ham are dragging them back into a relegation battle. Rob Holding was poor in this one. He's a bad advert for hair transplants now. Alexander Zinchenko was in tears seeing the strike go wide. Then 2 minutes later, Jared Bowen scored to make it 2-2. Mikel Arteta's gonna have a tough time convincing Declan Rice to sign for the Gunners now. Meanwhile, he needs Man City to fuck up, and he'll be in court reporting City for a financial fair play breach over dictionaries bought for Jack Grealish.
Someone said it, innit, not me, innit, but I agree with that person as well, innit, but I was not.
Chelsea were once again disastrous this week in the league, losing 2-1 to Brighton after leading early on.
We are by far the worst team in the league. Can we just win one fucking game?
Start drive.
Mikhailo Mudryk provided an assist for the Chelsea goal and now has 2, the most of any Chelsea player. Wait, hang on a second. You're telling me no other Chelsea player has more than 1 assist? How? One fan voiced his displeasure at Todd Boehly and was joined by the rest of the crowd. Would have been such a different season for Blues fans if Vladimir Putin had just allowed Ukraine. I mentioned Todd Boehly, and he went into the dressing room to voice his disappointment to the players. Is this guy high? Todd wasn't too impressed when Raheem told him the reason was his shit ownership.
You don't know where I'm from, dog.
This is mental for a man who definitely doesn't understand the offside rule. Was he in there at half-time as well, telling Benoit Badiashile to stay calm?
Relax, dog. It's a dogfight out there.
The Chelsea players can't have been able to keep a straight face when he left the changing room. What a performance from Brighton, though. Dominated the stats and deserved to win. They've once again spawned a new young star through Enthiso Screamer. Brighton scouts are on the money whenever they find a Colombian 9-year-old kicking a ball around. Meanwhile, what are their physios training for? The apocalypse. Look at this ram! It's been a bad week for London clubs, as Tottenham provided a laugh for the rest of us again by losing to relegation fight in Bournemouth in the 95th minute of the match. Had enough! I've had enough! Arnaud Danjuma looked to have saved Tottenham in the 88th before Django Ouattara won the game for Bournemouth in the 95th. Tottenham were hoping to benefit from the fruits of their labour, but it was the cherries on top in April. Spurs are legit useless. Just start a new save. Davinson Sanchez was subbed on early here, but after a disastrous performance, he was at fault for both goals and then subbed off to a theatre of boos from Tottenham fans. He is a hazard himself. That UK phone notification from the government is for him, mate. Ah, for God, not Davinson. The Colombian centre-back sat on the bench knowing that this might be the final straw for Tottenham management.
There might not be any hope for me again sort of kind of thing.
Meanwhile, Bournemouth tweeted out that North London was red for their victory. It's a shithousery award for the Cherries. They're back in the Champions League for a sec, and the other semi-final spots are occupied by Milan after AC took a 2-1 aggregate win over Napoli. Rafael Leao's assist for Milan will probably be the best of the Champions League this season, and the kid was smiling throughout all of it. Tongi Ndombele was trying to chase him down. His teammates were asking about his fitness after the goal.
I hear breathing heavy like a dog.
We've got a recreation of the chase going on here. Napoli fans let off fireworks outside of Milan's hotel rooms, but it didn't seem to work. I mentioned Leao, and he was interviewed after the win, but couldn't understand Jamie Carragher's accent.
The game's tomorrow. Obviously, the big rival of yours, Inter Milan, are in the other semi-final. Would you like that? A big semi-final?
I didn't understand. Can you repeat, please? Sorry.
They have the same problem in the studio. Internazionale. Would you like to face them in the semi-final?
You like to? I didn't. Jamie, serious?
International. That's the proper name. That's the name. Internazionale.
If you don't understand Inter, how is he going to understand International?
Jamie thought he was slick adding Internazionale in there, didn't he?
Let me add a little bit of spice to that.
To be honest though, Micah Richards was not much better, combining Fikayo Tomori's name into one word.
Okay, Fikayo, last but not least.
Fikayo!
Yeah, come on, answer, come on!
It does mean that AC are into an all-Milan semi as Inter knocked out Benfica. It's time to recreate a classic, ladies and gents. Over in Brazil, and there's the news of Neymar expecting his second child. Finally, a wholesome development in the FNG Neymar story. But hang on a sec. This kid is gonna be done with his dad when he finds out his aunt is also his grandma.
Nah, fuck this, I'm out of here. Get that fire exit door, I'm off.
Nah, I'm being sick. Neymar's son is gonna have 6-star skill moves, mate. This kid's gonna be chopping elasticos at the gender reveal. Neymar Jr. is about to go crazy in the nursery league, so he's gotta be careful. Florentino Perez is gonna be snapping up this kid to put into Real Madrid's academy aged 5. But nah, genuinely, very happy for him, and all the best to Neymar and his partner. Back in the Premier League, and Liverpool showed a glimpse of their old selves with a 6-1 slapping of Leeds. Yeah, Leeds were put in a dishwasher here. Javi Gracia's message to Klopp with 5 minutes to go was pretty telling. And this Trent Alexander-Arnold performance in midfield might be revolutionary.
The best football player in the world.
Though I'll be honest with you, he was pretty lucky with the handball for the first goal. Now, there was controversy amongst Arsenal players after a video posted by their Twitter account showing their players signing a shirt for a young mascot, which is great in its own right, but they weren't really engaging with the girl, didn't give her any eye contact, and didn't even give her the time to say hello. These Arsenal players have got no time for kids at all. And Nketiah's dipping out of the Emirates, leaving a sick child high and dry after promising to give him a signed shirt. And look, listen, I get it. I understand the uproar. It doesn't really cost that much to just be nice and say hello to the girl, for God's sake. There was also a video of United players doing it this week as well, though, so it's not really an uncommon thing, which doesn't really defend it, but at least Martin Odegaard did give her the time of day before they were about to go out onto the pitch. Elsewhere at Arsenal, and William Saliba said that he's ready to risk further injury to try and help the Gunners win the league this season. Arsenal are going to turn him into Sylvain Distin for a league win. At least we'll be able to reminisce of the good Saliba.
He was special.
The guy saw Arsenal stinking up the place and accelerated his physio work. Now at Crystal Palace, and their new boss after Roy Hodgson could be Adolf Herter. Pardon?
You know, let's not take the piss here.
Who named this man? His parents are actual terrorists. Wayne Hennessy's on his way back to Palace as we speak. Apparently Adolf's tactics revolve around attacking down the right wing, and he's lucky that, like his namesake, he only has one ball to deal with. Manchester City are supposedly planning a stadium expansion at the Etihad, although Domino's don't agree, saying it's like increasing a pizza box without increasing the pizza inside. Public service announcement. Tottenham have won a trophy through the under-17s team. Daniel Levy's going to be confused walking through the club's Hall of Fame and seeing the ages of the players in there after this historic win.
16
At a push 17, 16.
Meanwhile, Unai Emery's Aston Villa have won again. Unai is a genius and he wants to get into the Europa League again. Meanwhile, here we have Villa fans to Steven Gerrard upon realising they could have mounted a title challenge if it wasn't for his shenanigans. Belgian side Ghent's defenders may want to concentrate next time they're playing West Ham United. Coventry goalkeeper Ben Wilson scored a dramatic 95th minute equaliser to rescue a point in the Championship versus Blackburn, but used his hand in the process. I mean, he is a goalkeeper after all. Meanwhile, apparently there is a Premier League footballer who's dropped a tune this week. Masked rapper Died is claiming to be a Premier League footballer on social media, and his most recent freestyle's gone viral. The speculation on who it could be, with a lot coming to the conclusion it's Reece Nelson. The Arsenal dinner lady's gonna be bemused seeing Reece freestyle outside the stadium. Meanwhile, it's only a matter of time before Ben White gets on the mic.
Oh man, just topped him off like it was nothing. Get chefed, my G. Oh, father love. It's a madness.
Now in Germany, and Borussia Dortmund are in the hunt for their first Bundesliga since...
It's the history of the Dortmund.
You didn't even let me finish the sentence. Dortmund bottled the chance to close in on Bayern Munich with a 3-3 draw versus 10-man Stuttgart. It was karma for Dortmund's Yusufa Moukoko, who laughed in the face of Stuttgart's goalkeeper, only for his side to concede in the 97th minute. Marco Reus was providing emotional support down on the touchline. Yes, lads, come on, get a oh God, man, not again. Borussia Dortmund's boss was convinced they wouldn't concede in the final minute.
I think we could play all the way till the end of the season and still wouldn't score. Oh, for fuck's sake, what?
And it's Congolese striker Silas as well with the equaliser for Stuttgart. These lot are the Schnitzel Spurs. The Audi Cup is German. A coincidence? I think not. In Bayer Leverkusen's Europa League tie against Union SG, and we've got a smoker getting caught out on the big screen. Meanwhile, the Bundesliga provides easily the best goal line clearance of the week. Just a shame that it was from his teammate Strike. In Spain, and we've got fans with an elite view of Barcelona versus Getafe. Imagine all of that effort climbing a tree for a 0-0 draw. Their view was actually great, I'm not even gonna lie. Wait, hang on a second. If I zoom in a little bit... These lot are in a tree, and they've still had to reach less than Real Madrid have this week. If you want to see my video on Barcelona versus Real Madrid, there's a link in the description. Meanwhile, Barca manager Xavi's conclusion as to why they couldn't beat Getafe was because the grass was too long for them to play normal football. The poor guy was getting lost during the pitch inspection. At Atletico Madrid, and this hasn't been given as a handball. Honestly, you can play beach volleyball over in Spain and you won't get a penalty. In France, and Paris Saint-Germain versus Lens was affected by strike action this week on television, where camera operators weren't working as per normal. Again, I think this might be down to strike. I don't know the full story, but basically it meant the first 15 minutes of the game were reduced to only high-up cameras and no replays or close-up shots or anything like that. Imagine being a PSG fan only to realize the game's being filmed on a Nokia. PSG won this one 3-1 to put one hand on the Ligue 1 title. Before the game, an Alon's defender stated that if Kylian Mbappe dribbled past him, he'd leave the field in an ambulance. But the only thing on live support, unfortunately for them, is Lens' title charge. Elsewhere in France, and we've got a mic'd up referee here. And it gives an insight into the conversations he has with other officials. Over at Toulouse, I believe, and one fan isn't letting the rain get to him. And Angers versus Clermont Foot. How about this for a way to try and distract a penalty taker? Just get your ass out live on television in front of him. It didn't work. Now, in Italy, and Juventus had been struck with a 15-point deduction earlier on the season, which dropped them out of the Champions League and European places altogether. Upon appeal, though, they've had those 15 points reinstated, seeing them rise up to 3rd in Serie A. Their fans are perplexed by this development, I've got to say. Easy top 16. Easy. 3. The old lady have had their new logo confirmed, and I've got to say, this is massive for the race for a Champions League spot over in Italy. Now, though, it's time for your goals of the week. Expect bangers again. First of all, over in Norway, at Bodo Glimt. How about this for some casual control from a Mahi Pellegrino before cushioning a curling effort in on the half volley in Cyprus? And what about this for some control and a finish? Flicking the ball over the defender, getting back up and volleying it in. Special stuff from Beret Nusret Sadiq over in Cyprus. And finally, probably the most unique goal of the week so far, over in the Dutch 4th Division, in the 98th minute and needing a goal, step forward the goalkeeper, who manages to pull off a bicycle kick straight into the top corner. Now over in Saudi Arabia, and Cristiano Ronaldo's struggling again, deciding that the best course of action is to slap someone in a headlock. Hang on, is that Michael Oliver? I don't honestly, look, listen, Ronaldo's next Piers Morgan interview is going to be from jail. Over in the Netherlands again, and Iron Robin has completed a marathon this week at the age of 39. Spectators were said to be confused when they saw him cutting on his left at the finish line. And in Norway, how about this for some fair play? As Norwegian Premier League striker Bard Finner, playing for Brann, saw a defender run alongside him go down with an injury and decided to stop and kick the ball out of play. Good sportsmanship, but he's a better man than me. Hello all, and welcome to The Beautiful Game, the segment where we take a look at the poetic and brilliant side of the game that we love. We are back by popular demand for yet more glorious beauty.
Just to help close down players like Gazdag.
Suke's cross, and there's just a little bit taken off, and then a deflection, and it's taken it in!
Is it worth going through this anguish every week?
And that concludes The Beautiful Game. Now, back in the Eredivisie, you're Camber, you're 2-0 down against league leaders Feyenoord. You've got to try and give yourself a fighting chance to get back in the game.
Schot van Paixão wordt gepakt en dan in eigen doel.
Or just do that. That works as well. In Mexico, and we've got some on-field entertainment outside of the game here, with perhaps the worst attempt at an assault course completion in human history.
Volando como luchador, jajaja.
In Sweden, and why not take some fruit with you to a football match in the form of a watermelon, balancing on your noggin? For God's sake, man, I can't even see the bloody game. In Argentina and at Vélez, I want someone to check this goalkeeper's betting slips, because I'm afraid some serious match fixing has been going on here. That is the worst goal, the anti-goal of the week. In Australia, and how about this for a story during a penalty shootout? Casey Dumont, playing for Melbourne Victory, took the first pen of the shootout in this women's tie as the goalkeeper. She's a shot stopper, also decent at penalties, clearly. Jumped from the penalty spot to the goal line and saved the immediate next penalty after slotting one home. In Colombia, and I don't think this side have quite gathered how to time waste efficiently. I mean, he can go down injured, to be fair. This is 4D chess. Meanwhile, in Chile, and why have a number 9 involved in the counter-attack when you can have a K9 involved in it instead? Closer to home, and at Birmingham, it was an unfortunate incident where they managed to throw flares at the Sunderland end, striking the wheelchair section. I'm a terrible human being. At Bristol Rovers, and they were facing off against Derby, whose goalkeeper was doing a lot of time wasting late on in the game. Well, Bristol Rovers managed to score in the end, and their forward I don't know how to pronounce his name, decided to get back at the Rams shot stopper, celebrating by mimicking his time wasting. Meanwhile, there's the incredible news of #United's promotion to the 7th tier of English football. The football club, run by Spencer Owen, have now gone through all of the county leagues and find themselves in the Isthmian division. This really is an incredible storyline, all the way from the Wembley Cup, man. Next up, F2 Freestylers. Now though, it's time for the moment you've all been waiting for, because over in Romania, there are some fierce rivalries in this nation when it comes to the footballing world. None more so than in the capital city, in Bucharest, where there are a number of clubs that have gone through various different forms. Now, there's a long history and confusing history of Steaua Bucharest, but the club named that are currently in the 2nd division, and their rivals Dinamo were relegated last season. Now, the scenes for a 2nd division derby here were completely unmatched, and it got so mental that supporters decided to set fire to their own seats. What even is the benefit of this situation? In the J-League, and I've got a feeling the referee might want to pull this one back for like a slight shirt pull here on the attacker. In Paraguay, and shout out veteran striker Oscar Cardozo with a very clever no-step run-up free kick that caught out the opponent's goalkeeper. In America, on women's side, OL Reign have unlocked a new celebration. I don't know where this picture's coming from, but we've got a diagonal pitch here. Provides one of the more unique penalty many areas in the world of football. In Iran and for Estalal, a goalkeeper by the name of Husseini stepped up in the 90th minute to try and score a penalty, with his side already 4-1 up, decided that he wanted to get involved in the goal scoring and scored in beautiful style with a little hop free kick. It's like he does it all the time. In Ethiopia though, and on the other end of the spectrum as far as goalkeeping ability is concerned, next time maybe just go long with the ball out. In Croatia, and one of the most menacing away ends has been filled this week at Rijeka. What is with these cage stadiums? Looking like there should be 2 guinea pigs in there. In Brazil's under 20 leagues though now, and we've got one of the more comical own goals of the week.
De cabeça vai pintar o terceiro gol, tirar. Tentava tirar por ali, o Bandaró e a bola entra.
And in Uzbekistan, we might as well throw one more goalkeeping howler into the mix from a nation that might not have even featured in FTW before. Now that it's time for Still 0-0, and you guys know the score by now. This is a segment of the show where I bring to you the best of Sunday League and amateur football. You guys know the drill by now. Alright, Sunday League sometimes is not exactly where you're gonna find the most elite footballing capabilities. Well, that's been taken to the max here, with arguably the worst miss in footballing history. Why are you even taking that many touches? Just stop the ball and place it in. That's a red card for gravity, mate. Taking him down as the last man. On to the weird stuff though now. Over in Wales and at Llantwit, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. There's a lot of letters going on over there. They've unveiled some new kits ahead of next season, which include a Mr. Blobby design and one that is covered in dinosaurs. If they don't rename their stadium Jurassic Park, they're missing out here. Staying in the British Isles and in Northern Ireland, another name of a club I'm probably about to butcher, but Loughall, from a village of about 200 people, have been promoted to the Northern Irish First Division. That means they're going to be the club with the least population in terms of the place that they're from across the entirety of Europe. If you put a squad together, it's a 10th of the population of the whole place. And finally, over in India, a footballer down in the lower leagues has been suspended by the Goa Football Association for 2 years after headbutting a referee during a game, and then for waiting to travel to a game 7 days later to assault the same referee after traveling as a spectator in the crowd. This man is the ultimate hater. He's headbutted him, then bought a season ticket and ran onto the pitch from the crowd. Absolutely ridiculous scenes, and definitely deserving of the 2-year ban. That though is going to wrap up football this week, and I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then feel free to slap a like on the video, and of course subscribe if you're new to the channel. You can also follow me on social media. It is at @theofficialfng on Twitter and on Insta. But it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.